I think it's time. Claire looked up from the kitchen table. Time for what? For me to leave. The words felt heavier than anything I had ever said. She stared at me for several seconds before speaking. You're serious? I am. After everything? I laughed bitterly. After everything is exactly why. Claire folded her arms. And what do you expect me to say? I don't know. No, you do know. She shook her head. You want me to stop you? I looked away. Do you? She asked. When I couldn't answer, she sighed. That's what I thought. The silence between us felt endless. I'm tired, Claire. So am I. I keep hurting this family. You made mistakes. More than mistakes. You worked too much. I miss birthdays. Yes. I broke promises. Yes. I lost money. Yes. I swallowed hard. I ruined everything. Claire rubbed her forehead. You always do that. Do what? Turn every failure into a life sentence. I laughed quietly. Maybe because I deserve it. Before she could answer, Noah walked into the room. My son barely glanced at me. Dinner's ready, he said. Then he noticed our expressions. What happened? I forced a smile. Nothing. That's a lie. Claire looked at me. I nodded. Noah, I'm leaving. His face froze. What? I'm moving out. For how long? I took a breath. Forever. The room became silent. Noah stared at me. You're joking. I'm not. Why? Because it's better this way. Better for who? For you and your mom. His jaw tightened. That's stupid. Maybe. No. It is. Claire stood. Noah. No, he pointed at me. You don't get to decide what's better for us. I'm trying to help. By leaving, I've hurt this family enough. So your solution is to disappear? I didn't answer. Noah laughed angrily. Unbelievable. Then he turned around and walked away. Dad. I looked up. If you want to leave, leave. The words hit harder than shouting ever could. A second later, he disappeared upstairs. Claire closed her eyes. There it is. What? The moment you were afraid of. I nodded. And maybe he's right. She looked at me carefully. Then stay. I wanted to. God, I wanted to. But years of guilt crushed every hopeful thought. I can't. Why? Because every day I stay, I remind both of you of everything I ruined. Claire's voice softened. You're not the only one who suffered. I know. Then stop acting like you are. I picked up my bag. I'm sorry. She didn't answer. I went upstairs and started packing. Every shirt felt like a memory. Every drawer reminded me of something I should have done better. I remembered missed school events, late-night meetings, broken promises, excuses, regrets. The list never seemed to end. A knock interrupted my thoughts. Marcus stood in the doorway. Claire called me. Of course she did. He stepped inside. You're really doing this? Yes. Marcus sat on the edge of the bed. Then I'm going to ask one last time. What? Are you sure? I zipped my suitcase. No. Then why leave? Because they deserve peace. Marcus sighed. Or maybe you're running away. That's not fair, isn't it? I looked at him. You've blamed yourself for years. Because I failed. You're human. I'm a husband and a father. You're still human. I shook my head. You didn't hear Noah. I did. And he sounded hurt. Exactly. Marcus pointed toward the hallway. Hurt people say painful things. He meant it. Maybe. I sat down heavily. What if they're happier without me? Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then they'll be happier. That's simple. No. He leaned forward. But sometimes people need space. That's what I'm giving them. Then give them space. I frowned. You agree? I think you've already made up your mind. He was right. The next morning, I signed the divorce papers. My hand shook as I wrote my name. It felt like signing away my entire life. Claire signed without speaking. Neither of us cried. Maybe we were both too exhausted. I left the house carrying one suitcase. Nobody stopped me. Nobody ran after me. Nobody asked me to stay. That hurt more than anything. Weeks passed. I moved to another city. I rented a small apartment. I found work. I kept my head down. Every morning, I told myself I had done the right thing. Every night, I tried to believe it. Then one evening my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Instead, I answered. Hello. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then I heard a familiar voice. Dad. My heart stopped. Noah. Yeah. Are you okay? I don't know. His voice sounded shaky. What happened? Nothing. Then why are you calling? Several seconds passed. Finally, he spoke. Can I ask you something? Anything. His breathing trembled. Dad, yes. Did you really leave because you stopped loving us? The question hit me like a punch. What? Just answer. Noah, I never stopped loving you. Then why did you go? I thought. The line crackled. Noah, I thought you hated us. What? No. Then come. The call suddenly disconnected. Noah. Silence. I called back immediately. No answer. Again. Nothing. I stared at the screen. For weeks I had convinced myself I had done the right thing. For weeks I had believed they were better without me. But one trembling question shattered everything. Did you really leave because you stopped loving us? For the first time since I walked away, I wondered if leaving had been the biggest mistake of all. Noah's question followed me everywhere. Did you really leave because you stopped loving us? I heard it while driving. I heard it while working. I heard it every time I tried to sleep. 3 days later, I finally gave up pretending I could ignore it. I returned to my hometown. I parked several blocks away from my old house and sat inside my car. You're being ridiculous, I muttered. Yet I couldn't leave. I watched from a distance. Claire came home from work. Noah arrived an hour later. Neither of them looked happy. That realization hurt more than I expected. If they're happier without me, I whispered, why do they both look miserable? My phone rang. Marcus. I stared at the screen before answering. Hey, where are you? He asked. At work. That doesn't sound like work. I forced a laugh. You calling to check on me? Someone has to. I'm fine. Good. There was a pause. Then he said, don't go back there. My grip tightened. What? Your old life. Why would I? Because guilt makes people do stupid things. I frowned. Interesting advice. Just move forward. Maybe. After hanging up, I couldn't shake the strange feeling his words left behind. The next morning, I walked into a small coffee shop near Claire's office. I planned to stay for 10 minutes. Instead, someone recognized me. Ethan. I turned around. A woman stood near the counter. Grace. Grace Holloway smiled sadly. It's been years. Claire used to work with Grace. I hadn't seen her since before my business collapsed. Can I sit? She asked. Sure. A few minutes later, we were talking over coffee. You look tired, Grace said. I've earned it. She studied me carefully. You really don't know, do you? Know what? Her expression changed. Nothing. Grace. She sighed. Claire would kill me. Tell me. She looked around before lowering her voice. For years, people talked about you. What people? Clients. Investors. Employees. I laughed bitterly. Not surprising. No, Ethan. You don't understand. My smile disappeared. What are you talking about? Rumors. What rumors? Grace hesitated. People accused you of stealing money. I froze. What? They said you were hiding company funds. That's impossible. I know. Then why didn't anyone tell me? Because Claire stopped it. I stared at her. She spent years defending you. What? She argued with people, ended friendships, risked her career. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Why? Grace looked shocked. Because she loved you. The words hit me harder than expected. She never told me. Of course she didn't. Why not? Because she was protecting you. I looked away. Everything I thought I knew suddenly felt uncertain. Grace leaned forward. There's something else. My stomach tightened. What? I always thought someone wanted your marriage to fail. I blinked. What? I don't have proof. Grace. Just listen. Her voice became quieter. There were situations that never made sense. Like what? Arguments that appeared from nowhere. Coincidences happen. Not that many. I frowned. Who are you talking about? I don't know. But she hesitated. Just be careful about the people closest to you. Before I could ask more, she stood. I've already said too much. Grace. Find the truth. Then she walked away. I sat there for nearly an hour. My thoughts raced. Claire protected me? People accused me of crimes I never committed? Someone manipulated events? None of it made sense. By evening, I found myself standing outside a small house. The name on the mailbox read Samuel Brooks, a retired investigator, a man who once examined the financial collapse of my company. After several knocks, the door opened. An older man stared at me. Well, he said, this is unexpected. You remember me? I remember every case I couldn't solve. Can we talk? Samuel stepped aside. Come in. His office was filled with boxes. Files covered every shelf. You still keep all this? Some habits never die. I sat down. I need answers. Samuel nodded. I figured. You know something? I know enough to be suspicious. About what? Your company. I leaned forward. What did you find? Back then? Yes. Nothing I could prove. Frustration hit me immediately. That's not helpful. Relax. Samuel opened a drawer. Things changed. He pulled out several folders. What is this? Evidence. My pulse quickened. Evidence of what? Document alterations. I stared at him. Alterations? Financial records. Someone changed them? Yes. I felt sick. Who? Samuel opened a file. That's what I spent years trying to determine. He handed me copies. I examined the pages. Signatures. Transactions. Approvals. Something looked wrong. These aren't mine. I know. Then whose are they? Samuel folded his arms. That's the interesting part. Before he could continue, my phone vibrated. Noah. My heart nearly stopped. Excuse me. I answered immediately. Noah. Dad. Yeah. Can we meet? Of course. Tonight. Where? The park. I'll be there. 2 hours later, I sat beside him on an empty bench. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Then Noah broke the silence. You really came? Always. He looked down. I didn't know. Know what? That you'd answer. Pain filled his eyes. Why would you think that? Because you left. I swallowed hard. Noah, you chose to go. I thought I was helping. He laughed bitterly. Helping who? You. That's the problem. He looked at me. You never asked. I couldn't argue. Because he was right. I thought you hated me, he continued. What? You always looked miserable. I was miserable. Because of me? No. Then why? Because I felt like I failed you. His eyes widened. That's why you left. I thought you'd be better off. Noah shook his head. You idiot. I actually laughed. Fair. You never stopped being my dad. Emotion tightened my throat. I never wanted to stop. Then don't. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then Noah quietly asked, Are you coming home? I don't know. Try. His words stayed with me long after he left. Near midnight, I returned to Samuel's house. He was waiting. You're back. You said you found something. I did. Samuel placed one final folder on the desk. Open it. My hands trembled. Inside were emails, bank records, witness statements. The deeper I looked, the colder I felt. No. Samuel nodded grimly. I'm afraid so. This can't be real. It's real. The evidence was overwhelming. Every altered document, every suspicious transaction, every missing record, they all pointed toward one person. My best friend. The man who convinced me to walk away. Marcus. I stared at the proof. Years of trust shattered in seconds. Finally, I looked up at Samuel. Tell me I'm wrong. His expression remained unchanged. I can't. The room fell silent. And for the first time, I realized the disaster that destroyed my life may never have been an accident at all. I barely slept after discovering the evidence against Marcus. Every memory felt poisoned. Every conversation we had shared over the years suddenly seemed different. The man I trusted more than anyone might have destroyed my life. The next morning, I met Samuel again. You look terrible, he said. Thanks. You ready for more answers? No. Good. I sighed. That doesn't sound encouraging. It isn't. Samuel picked up a folder. There's someone you need to meet. Who? Olivia Bennett. The name meant nothing to me. Why? She worked with Marcus. What does she know? A lot. An hour later, we arrived at a small apartment building. Samuel knocked. The door opened slowly. A nervous woman peeked outside. Samuel, it's time, Olivia. Her eyes moved to me. She immediately looked frightened. No. Olivia, Samuel said gently. He deserves the truth. She closed her eyes. After a long moment, she stepped aside. Come in. The apartment was quiet. Nobody spoke until we sat down. Finally, I broke the silence. You work for Marcus? Yes. How long? Almost 7 years. I leaned forward. Did you help him? Her face turned pale. The silence told me everything. Oh my God. Tears filled her eyes. I'm sorry. What did you do? I never wanted this. Olivia. Her voice shook. I altered reports. My stomach dropped. What? I hid records. Why? Because Marcus told me to. I stood up. You helped destroy my company. I know. You helped destroy my family. I know. Then explain it. She started crying. I was scared. Scared of what? Him. I froze. What do you mean? Olivia wiped her eyes. You didn't know the real Marcus. Then tell me. She looked directly at me. He was obsessed. With what? With Claire. The room became silent. No. Yes. I shook my head. No. He loved her. My chest tightened. That's impossible. It isn't. When? For years. I couldn't breathe. He wanted you gone. The words felt like a knife. What? He believed Claire deserved better. Better than me? Olivia nodded. He thought if your business failed, your marriage would eventually collapse. I stared at her. You expect me to believe that? It's the truth. Why are you telling me now? Because I can't live with it anymore. I sat down slowly. My hands were shaking. Everything suddenly made horrible sense. Marcus encouraging me to work longer hours. Marcus constantly criticizing my decisions. Marcus always positioning himself as the trusted friend. The realization made me sick. Samuel finally spoke. You needed to hear it. I wish I didn't. A few hours later, I received a text message. Claire. My heart stopped. Can we talk? I stared at the screen. Then I replied. Yes. We agreed to meet at a quiet restaurant. When I arrived, she was already there. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Then she said softly, You look tired. I am. Me too. The awkwardness was unbearable. Finally, I asked the question haunting me. Did you ever want me to leave? Her eyes widened. What? The divorce. Claire immediately shook her head. No. I froze. No. Never. Emotion entered her voice. Why would you think that? I laughed bitterly. Because you didn't stop me. Tears instantly appeared in her eyes. You had already left. The words hit me hard. What does that mean? You stopped talking to me. Claire. No. She wiped her face. Listen to me. I remained silent. For years, I watched you disappear. I was working. I know. I was trying to fix things. I know. Then why are you crying? Because you never let me help. The pain in her voice broke something inside me. I thought I was protecting you. From what? My failures. She shook her head. I didn't need protection. Then what did you need? You. Neither of us spoke. The silence felt heavier than any argument. Finally, Claire whispered, I thought you gave up on us. My chest tightened. What? You stopped smiling. Because I felt like I failed. You stopped sharing your thoughts. Because I was ashamed. You stopped letting us in. I looked away. Every word was true. Claire reached across the table. I never stopped loving you. Tears filled my eyes. I never stopped loving you either. For the first time in years, we were finally honest. And it hurt more than any lie ever had. That evening, Samuel called. I found another witness. I immediately sat up. Who? Daniel Foster. The name sounded familiar. Marcus's old business partner? Yes. What did he say? Meet us. An hour later, I sat across from Daniel in Samuel's office. Daniel looked exhausted. You're Ethan? Yes. He sighed heavily. I owe you an apology. For what? For staying silent. What do you know? Everything. The room became quiet. Daniel leaned forward. Marcus sabotaged contracts. I closed my eyes. Of course he did. He spread rumors. I nodded. Of course he did. He manipulated financial reports. The anger inside me grew stronger. What? Daniel laughed bitterly. Because he wanted your life. The answer sounded absurd. Yet every piece fit together. He was jealous, Daniel continued. Of what? You. What? You had a family. I couldn't believe it. Daniel shook his head. Marcus always talked about Claire. My stomach turned. He said she should have chosen him. The room became silent. Finally, Samuel spoke. There's more. He handed me a newspaper. The headline immediately caught my attention. Marcus Reed under investigation. I blinked. What? Several former associates came forward. I stared at the article. His company was collapsing. Investors were pulling out. Authorities were investigating. Former allies were abandoning him. The empire he spent years building was falling apart. For the first time, Marcus was losing control. Then the office door suddenly opened. Everyone turned. My heart stopped. Marcus walked inside. His face was filled with rage. You think you've won? I slowly stood. Did you do it? He laughed. Do what? Destroy my life. Answer me. For several seconds, he said nothing. Then something inside him snapped. Yes. The room became silent. Yes, I did. I couldn't move. Marcus pointed at me. You had everything. What are you talking about? A wife who loved you. His voice shook with anger. A son who worshipped you. I stared at him. And you wasted it. You ruined innocent lives. I deserve that life. No. Yes. Marcus slammed his fist against the desk. She should have been with me. The confession echoed through the room. Years of lies. Years of manipulation. Years of betrayal. All reduced to one ugly truth. Marcus looked directly at me. I envied you every single day. The room fell silent. And in that moment, the final pieces of the nightmare finally fell into place. The weeks after Marcus's confession changed everything. For years, I believed I was responsible for destroying my family. Now the truth was finally coming into the light, and Marcus was running out of places to hide. One morning, Samuel called me. You should turn on the television. That sounds serious. It is. I grabbed the remote. The news appeared instantly. Marcus's face filled the screen. The reporter spoke clearly. Additional witnesses have come forward regarding allegations of financial fraud, document tampering, and corporate misconduct involving businessman Marcus Reed. I sat down slowly. The story continued. More victims, more evidence, more accusations. The empire Marcus spent years building was falling apart. My phone rang. It was Daniel. Did you see it? I'm watching now. It gets worse. For him. Yes. I couldn't deny the satisfaction I felt. Not because I wanted revenge. Because innocent people were finally being heard. What happens next? I asked. Investigations. Criminal charges? Most likely. I ended the call and stared at the screen. Marcus looked exhausted. The confident man I once admired was gone. Only desperation remained. A few days later, Samuel gathered everyone together. Olivia arrived first. Daniel came shortly afterward. The atmosphere felt heavy. Samuel placed several folders on the table. This is everything. Olivia looked nervous. Daniel looked angry. I felt both. Will it be enough? I asked. Samuel nodded. Yes. You sound certain. I am. He opened the largest folder. Financial records. Then another. Witness statements. Then another. Communication logs. Olivia swallowed hard. I still can't believe I helped him. You told the truth, Samuel said. It doesn't erase what I did. No, I said quietly. But it matters. She looked at me. You don't hate me? I thought carefully. Marcus manipulated a lot of people. Tears appeared in her eyes. Thank you. Daniel leaned back in his chair. You know what's funny? What? I asked. For years, Marcus convinced everyone he was the victim. Samuel laughed. That's usually how people like him operate. Nobody disagreed. The evidence continued growing. Every week brought new revelations. Former employees spoke out. Old business partners came forward. Investors demanded answers. Marcus's public image shattered piece by piece. Eventually, there was nowhere left for him to run. Yet despite everything happening around me, one conversation still remained. Claire, the truth between us was incomplete. A few evenings later, we met at the same restaurant where we had spoken before. This time, neither of us seemed afraid, just tired. Claire smiled softly. You look better. So do you. That might be a first. I laughed. Probably. For a moment, things felt strangely normal. Then she became serious. There's something I never told you. I felt my stomach tighten. What is it? She stared at her hands. For years, I thought you blamed me. What? For the company. I blinked. Claire, no. She nodded sadly. I know that now. Then why did you think it? Because every time a business came up, you shut down. I was ashamed. I didn't know that. The pain in her voice hurt. I thought you looked at me and saw another problem. I shook my head immediately. Never. Tears filled her eyes. I wish I had known. Why didn't you ask? She laughed bitterly. Why didn't you? Neither of us had an answer. The silence lasted several seconds. Finally, Claire whispered. We spent years having conversations inside our own heads. I nodded slowly, and Marcus benefited from every one of them. She looked away. He kept encouraging my fears. What? He told me you resented me. Anger surged through me. He told me you were disappointed in me. Claire closed her eyes, and I believed him. So did I. The realization was painful. Two people who loved each other had spent years listening to lies instead of speaking honestly. Claire reached across the table. I'm sorry. You don't have to apologize. Yes, I do. I squeezed her hand. Then we're both sorry. For the first time in years, neither of us looked away. Several days later, Noah called. Dad, hey, can we go somewhere? Sure. The lake. My chest tightened. The lake had been our place. Fishing, camping, weekend trips. Some of my happiest memories live there. The next afternoon, we stood beside the water. The breeze moved across the surface. For a while, neither of us spoke. Then Noah finally broke the silence. Do you remember teaching me how to fish? I smiled. You hooked my jacket. You laughed for 10 minutes. I still might. He laughed. Then his expression changed. Dad, yeah. I need to ask something. I already knew it was important. What is it? Noah looked at the lake. Then he quietly asked, Dad, if you knew the truth earlier, would you have stayed? The question hit me harder than anything else. For several seconds, I couldn't speak. Every mistake, every regret, every lost year, all of it crashed into me at once. I looked at my son, the boy I thought hated me, the boy who only wanted his father. Finally, I answered. I never wanted to leave. His eyes immediately filled with tears. Really? Yes. Not even once. Not even once. My voice broke. I thought I was protecting you. You weren't. I know. I just wanted my dad. The words shattered whatever strength I had left. I stepped forward. Noah stepped forward too. And for the first time in years, we embraced. Neither of us let go. Months passed. The investigations concluded. The evidence proved overwhelming. Marcus was charged with multiple crimes: fraud, forgery, financial manipulation, obstruction. When sentencing day arrived, the courtroom was silent. Marcus stood alone. No allies, no supporters, no empire, just consequences. The judge delivered the sentence. Marcus showed no emotion. Neither did I, because by then I understood something important. His downfall wasn't my revenge. It was the result of his own choices. Afterward, life slowly moved forward. Not perfectly, not magically. Claire and I began rebuilding, one honest conversation at a time. Some days were difficult. Some days were hopeful. But we stopped hiding from each other. That changed everything. Months later, our family gathered for a small celebration. Nothing extravagant, just food, laughter, and people we loved. I stood quietly on the patio. Across the yard, Noah was laughing. Claire stood beside him. For a moment, I simply watched them. The sight filled my chest with emotion. I once believed I was the villain of their story. I thought I had destroyed everything. I thought walking away was an act of love. But I finally understood the truth. I was never the monster Marcus convinced me I was. The real villain had been standing beside me all along. And now, for the first time in years, my family was finally free.